All right, folks, where I said we take a little bit of time to take some of your live Twitter questions, and we're going to do that right now. Once again, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Collider Video. Send them on in. So, Natasha, what have you picked out?
All right, Mark Burdett writes, Collider Video, who is at the top of your list you hope to meet at the Force Awakens premiere tonight?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I know we'd even get a chance to meet people.
Yeah, well, normally you do.
When to get dialed up and see a movie, I get to talk to the stars of it too.
No,
Holy crap!
What is really cool about these premieres, and I'm very lucky I get to go to a lot of these premieres, and what's really cool is that you come out and you're in the foyer of the theater, and it's just like any other movie theater, except standing here's Kevin Feige, standing over here is Chris Hemsworth, standing over here is whatever. And I've had a lot of chances actually to run into a lot of these guys and talk to them at the theater and things like that. This is going to be big tonight, though. I mean, there's going to be thousands. Like, normally, like a Disney World premiere, like I was just at the World premiere for The Good Dinosaur, right? And it's in a 700-seat theater. There's going to be like 3,000 to 4,000 people going to the Star Wars premiere tonight. So it's a little bit of a different animal. But I would go off the top of my head. 1, Steven Spielberg, because I know he's going to be there tonight. 2, George Lucas. 3, Harrison Ford. 4, John Boyega. 5, Daisy Ridley. 6, JJ. And I'll go 7, Mark Hamill. And then anybody else as well. But if I had to say, okay, you can just take a handful that you would absolutely run into, those would be the ones I would absolutely want to run into. What about you, Mark?
It'd be nice to say hi to my good friends C-3PO and R2-D2 again. Mark Hamill is right at the top of the list, as is George Lucas. I have random stupid luck with peeing next to famous people. Like at these events, like I'll just have to go to the bathroom and I walk in there and you look over and it's like, oh my God, I'm taking a leak next to Bruce Willis. Holy crap. That's going to happen tonight. I guarantee you I pee next to somebody famous tonight, and I will Instagram that. No, I won't, but it's going to be somebody. I bet it's JJ.
Absolute true story. World premiere of Guardians of the Galaxy. It was at the Dolby Cinema. It was at the Dolby Theater, and I went into the bathroom, and I'm at one of the urinal stars, and I kid you not, on my left was Lee Pace, who played Ronan the Accuser. Who played Ronan the Accuser. And on my right was, I cannot remember the actor's name, the guy who was the head of the Nova Corps. The guy who's the head pilot, the one that says, what a bunch of a-holes. That guy.
Oh, Peter Serafinovitz.
Is that really his name?
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you pulled that out.
He also he was the voice of Darth Maul. Just little Star Wars facts for you kids.
Wow.
Did not know that. So yeah, I had those two guys just talking about the movie, and I'm just in the middle thinking, this is really weird. We all got our dicks out, just being and just talking like guys. That was pretty cool. If you were there tonight, what would and you had to say like 3 guys you really wish you could bump into, who would be those 3?
It'd be Mark Hamill. I'd be like, how come you didn't invite me to the premiere? I thought we were friends. I've worked with him before. Just kidding, Mark. I would love to. I would, like you named it. Spielberg would be great to run into. I don't know. Like, I mean, sometimes it's weird. Like, I would just be like, hey man, can I get a picture? And to get a picture, because it's like, or be like, dude, I love all your movies. I don't know. It's like sometimes you like I don't really freak out when I meet famous people anymore. But sometimes if you there's a few that I would. Like, it would be Spielberg. It would be like, oh my God.
I would lose my mind if I got to meet Spielberg.
I would probably hey, can you quickly take a picture awkwardly? And I'd be like looking all strange. It would be a photo I wouldn't put on Instagram because I'd look stupid. That happened to me the first time I took a photo with Stan Lee. I looked all dumb. And luckily my girlfriend, Holly, was like, hey, go back up there and let's get a good picture of you. So I got a good picture. My fiance, Holly. So, sometimes it's weird when you meet people that you idolize or looked up to or have known since you were a little kid, and that's what most of these people in the Star Wars universe are. We've known them since we were little kids, so it's a little weird. So,
all right, what do you got next?
Darth Daddy writes, could Force Awakens possibly touch an Oscar or be nominated for anything?
Well, I mean, any movie coming out has the potential to get Oscar nominations. We haven't seen the movie. So, I mean, is it possible? Yes, because it's a movie that meets all the requirements of the Academy. But as far as its real chances, we can't even speculate until we have a chance to see the movie.
I can. It's winning Best Picture. What are you talking about? It's winning Best Picture of 2015, and Leo is just going to outgun John Boyega for Best Actor.
What do you think, Schnepp?
I'll have to see it. I mean, anything's possible. We don't know. I mean...
I think we already know a lot of effects awards and sound design, stuff like that.
That's stuff that's probably in the pocket,
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell, though. But could this be such an amazingly fun, incredible adventure, like on the tip of like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, which did sweep the Oscars.
Yeah.
It was a science fiction fantasy. So anything is possible. That's all I can say.
All right, what's next?
Okay, Senor Pizza writes, what's the best? I'm just picking the ones with the fun names today. What's the best movie franchise other than Star Wars?
You know, we had a great debate maybe about a year ago about best movie trilogies, you know? So obviously you got to talk. I mean, some people don't like the third one. That's fine, but you got to put The Godfather in that conversation. You got to talk about Lord of the Rings. You can mention Christopher Nolan's Batman franchise. Obviously there's Star Wars. To me, this is one, whenever I mention it, people go, oh yeah, the Toy Story franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, in Rotten Tomatoes terms, 100%, 100%, 99%. That is literally their Rotten Tomatoes ratings. 100%, 100%, and 99%. That's the worst one, is 99%. As other than Star Wars, I actually rank, and then of course you got to talk about the original Indiana Jones trilogy, has got to be way up there. I would personally go Star Wars, the original Lord of the Rings. I'll go Toy Story, then Indiana Jones, then the Christopher Nolan Batman franchise. Nope, screw that. I'm going to put Godfather trilogy, then Christopher Nolan in number 6. So that's how I would do. What about you?
In addition to the ones that you mentioned, I mean, I think I probably have number 1 and number 2 are Star Wars and Indiana Jones, but some other ones I'll just throw in the pile are the Lethal Weapon franchise and the Bourne franchise, because regardless of what you thought about the Jeremy Renner movie, I don't think there's a bad flick in that bunch. All the Lethal Weapon movies are great, and there's been 4 of them, so it's got to count.
Now here's something that's weird. I was just talking about this yesterday. Even though I haven't seen Creed yet, the Rocky film came out the same year that Star Wars came out. Rocky and Star Wars came out in 1977, and this year, their 7th episodes of both of the franchises came out this year. Creed and Star Wars The Force Awakens. So I'd put Rocky right up in there in like this amazing story arc that just keeps going. I don't know if I would add Fast and the Furious. I know there's going to be like 15 of those. But I might chuck in Chronicles of Riddick, yo. I know everyone else doesn't like it, but like for the top though, I would definitely, Star Wars is definitely my top trilogy. The Alien quadrilogy, just kidding, guys. Then there comes,
oh boy,
I would probably like for myself, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1, 2, and 3. I don't count the 4th one. We're talking about the trilogy.
The original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original trilogy, and then the weird, strange one that they're trying to
I
erase.
can still throw Die Hard in there too, because the first 3 Die Hards are great.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also a movie like a whole bunch of like Alien. You know, there's like Alien 1 and 2 are great.
Oh, fantastic.
3 and 4 not
Yeah.
so much, and the Alien Predator. But I like Prometheus better than I liked Alien 3 and 4. So it's so weird when you start to get these hybrid. It's not really a trilogy, but it's a continuation. But it's part of this strange, weird franchise world. So
Also, Back to the Future is like the first movie is so great
Right.
that the other 2 is just fun being back in that world for a little bit.
same thing with The Matrix. First movie, incredible. Second 2, let's not talk about them. So I rebought just the first one. I'm like, that's the only one that exists, and I got that in Blu-ray, son. So
Well, let me put Natasha on the spot. Natasha, what is your favorite film franchise?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this so many times. My favorite film franchise is definitely hands down Lord of the Rings.
That's right, I remember
nerd
that.
out every time. I actually cried when I heard that The Hobbit was coming out again because, like you guys, I was, growing up in elementary school waiting for this new Hobbit film to come out. When it finally came out, I called my best friend who...
I'm sorry, wait, you were in elementary school when the first Hobbit came out?
No. I'm saying when
Say,
the Return of
you're
the
not that young.
King, when the Return of the King came out, I think I was like 7th or 8th grade, something like that. So middle school. And I called my best friend, who we both had a crush on, Orlando Bloom, as Legolas, because I think he looks way better in a blonde wig than with normal hair. But I called her and we're like, oh my God. I think we waited like 6 years then after, and we both went to the midnight premiere of The Hobbit. Even though I don't like The Hobbits, it was just that experience. So, I mean, that's like one of those sentimental movies. It's my favorite.
Well,
Can't
we
be
can
beat.
on a day like today, we can appreciate the sentimental attachments. All right, last Twitter question of the day.
Okay, Joe Gould, I hope I pronounced that right, says 60 Minutes called J.J. Abrams the Spielberg of this generation. Do you agree? I think it may be a bit of a stretch.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch. I have a lot of respect for JJ, especially a lot of his television stuff that he's done, like Alias. I mean, Alias is just the shit. I love Alias. Fringe was great. A lot of
Lost.
Yeah, Lost, obviously. So he's done a lot of great stuff on TV. I really appreciate what he has done with the Star Trek franchise up to now. Super 8, not so much, but whatever. So I think he is a solid good director that I'm excited that, JJ wouldn't have been my first pick to direct the new Star Wars films, but he was one of those names. There's probably a list of 6 or 7 names that I would go, hey, but I'll be excited if any of these people do it.
Right.
And JJ was definitely one of those names. Calling him the new Spielberg, let's get 4 or 5 Best Director nominations on his resume before we start having that conversation. So I think it's just getting ahead of ourselves a little bit to call him that yet.
Yeah,
I might change my tune after tonight, but for now, let's.
Oh, you're seeing the movie tonight? Oh. So am I. It's exciting. I don't think you can call him the next Spielberg yet, because what J.J. Abrams has done primarily is, I know The Rock likes to call himself this, but J.J. has been franchise Viagra too, not only with Star Trek, but now hopefully with Star Wars, whereas Steven Spielberg started franchises, man. I mean, he started Indiana Jones and the Jaws movies and all these incredible things that we love and celebrate to this day. So I need to see a little bit more original ideas from J.J. Abrams, which I really like. Super 8. I thought Lost was terrific. I want to see more of that kind of stuff, as well as some kick-ass outer space movies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think J.J. Abrams, it has the potential to, in like 10 or 15 years, be a Spielberg-esque. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, he's a big fan of Spielberg. They produced Super 8 together, but Spielberg is on his own continent. You know what I mean? Like, let alone Jaws, let alone E.T. I mean, the list of his films that span all genres, that are all incredible films. Like, I don't think there was a miss, except maybe you might want to count 1941 as like a hey, or it may be Always. There's a couple in that 30 or 40 films that he's directed where you're like, not this one or that one, but all the other 35. That's really impossible to put anyone in that same category. He's in a category of his own, just like Scorsese. There's like names that are specific to filmmaking. JJ's becoming that name. I think he isn't that name yet, but he's put in, if you look at the sheer hours that he's put in logging on television, hundreds and hundreds of episodes. You know, he got his early start. He actually was one of the screenwriters for Superman before Man of Steel. He wrote Superman Flyby, which I liked the script. It was different. It was revisionist. It changed up everything, but yet it still maintained that specialness that is Superman. So that's why I like that they tap him for, hey, let's revisit Star Trek, but change it a little bit. Let's revisit Star Wars and change it a little bit, but keep everything that's core. So, you know, I think in the future, perhaps, but not now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The media seems very anxious to anoint the next Spielberg.
Right.
Do you remember the last guy that the big media push was to anoint as the next Spielberg?
No.
Shamhammer, M. Night. Remember the big cover of
Right.
Time magazine, the next Steven Spielberg. Look at that. Look, you're right. There is no other Steven Spielberg when you look at the sheer volume of all-time classics that this guy's done. I would say if there was anybody right now truly positioned to someday maybe inherit the crown, it might be Christopher Nolan. But even we got to see where he is 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now than right now. But I think if anybody has that potential right now, it's probably Nolan.
Michael Bay just threw a Bud Light can at the screen.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us. The last time you're going to see a lot of these shining faces before they've seen Star Trek: The Force Awakens.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Did I say Star Trek?
You said Star Trek.
You know
He's
why?
no longer Chef ticket.
Star Trek: The Force Awakens.
Star Trek: The Force
Turn
Awakens.
in your ticket and your nerd card.
Somebody make that poster. Somebody make that
Mickey
Star
Mouse
Trek.
comes walking in.
I know.
Ah, give him back.
Cobblepot, where have you been? The weird, strange Mickey Mouse.
I'm taking your ticket, Campia.
He grabs it with his feet and floats away with spider wings.
Somebody make that poster for us. Star Trek: The Force Awakens. Please make that poster for us.
Oh boy.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.